Hello everyone, welcome to the 5 Minutes PM podcast. Today to talk about stakeholder management, the chapter 13 of the PMBOK guide 5th edition. I'm very happy of having this 13th chapter just covering stakeholder management. Of course, we mentioned this on the previous editions under communications and other knowledge areas, but it's great to know that both PMI and the PMBOK guide are shifting from a very production and industrial engineering to a more human side, because most of the challenges we face in our daily work in projects are human related. Communications, human resource management, expectations management, and stakeholder management. So this chapter 13 is divided in 4 processes to cover everything about these stakeholders, from the initiation process group up to the control. So from the 5 process groups, we have stakeholder management process in 4 of them. The first one, it's the 13.1, is to identify the stakeholders. The second one is to plan stakeholder management. The third one is to manage the stakeholder engagement. And the last one is to control this stakeholder engagement. Today, I like to cover more the 2 first ones. So first is to identify stakeholder. It's one of the first process you do when you are managing a project. So since you develop the project charter, you go straight to identify the stakeholders. You take the project charter, the procurement documents, and all the enterprise environmental factors where your project and your organization is embedded. And using stakeholder analysis, expert judgment, meetings, you will produce the stakeholder register. And what is a stakeholder analysis? It's exactly a way we use to identify clearly who are the stakeholders. A lot of people make a huge mistake thinking that stakeholders are my allies or are my enemies. I want to tell you, they are both. They are both. You cannot be blind of thinking, oh, I just want to raise my allies with positive interest. No, it's not the case. You need to cover all those who have ability, okay, to change your project, to change the results of your project. So basically, what I would like to suggest is a very simple exercise. Try to draw a 2x2 matrix. In one side, you will put interest. And we have 2 options, positive and negative. In the other, we have influence, high and low. Or if you want, you can replace influence by power, for example. So it's power and interest. So with this combination, we have 4 options. We have a group with high power and positive interest. These are the goods. These are the people I want to have with me. I need to create a plan that empower these people, raise their interest. In the other hand, I have those with high power but negative interest. These are the bad ones. These are very strong with no interest at all that your project succeed. We have a third group that has a positive interest but not too much power, not too much ability to influence. I would call this group the cheerleaders. You know, when you see a game, a match, and you see the cheerleaders dancing and trying to motivate the players and the people, but their ability to influence the results are pretty much limited. But they are there to support. So these people can also help you to motivate people and maybe help you to target the real big ones that can exercise influence. And the fourth and the last but not least are those with low influence, low power, but negative interest. They are the time eaters. They are those who create problems all the time. They are not decision makers, but they can bring trouble all the time. They can give you a lot of work, so you need to control them or to block them. Otherwise, they will eat pretty much all your time. So with this identification, you can map this. And then on the second process, you'll be starting planning the stakeholder management. You'll take your plan, the stakeholder register, and using analytical techniques, meetings, calling for experts. You will create a plan to manage them. Maybe this plan will include a communication plan. Maybe in some cases you will shift the scope of your project a little bit to transform someone that is negative into positive. Very cautious on that because this will raise risks. But you need to manipulate your plan in order to make sure that you are treating the stakeholders properly, that you are trying to understand their interest. And this is not mathematics. It's pretty much art. It's to understand and to have this gut feeling of how you can handle this. So this process will be pretty much embedded in your communication plan, human resource plan, scope management plan. It will be embedded in the other plans. And next week, I want to talk and to continue this discussion talking about what will you do in the execution and the control of the project regarding stakeholder management. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast and see you next week with the same topic in another 5 Minutes PM podcast.